What's happening, guys? I hope you are all enjoying the Battlefield Hardline beta, because it's out. I know a lot of you know it's out, and I'm having a ton of fun with that. And I wanted to cover something a little bit different today. I wanted to cover weapons and the way they're going to need to be balanced a little bit. There's quite a few weapons in the game right now that are probably a little bit underpowered, but there's quite a few that are overpowered and need a few changes. So let's just jump straight in and talk about them. The first thing that I think needs work a little bit is the Scout Elite. It is way too easy to use. It feels like it has no drop on it, but I'm sure that isn't the case. The main problem I think with it is you can fire it too fast. You can fire a bullet and then the pullback comes and you can fire another bullet so fast. It almost makes it a little bit like a DMR to a certain extent. Not as extreme, but it's pretty brutal. And when you consider that it does still a lot of damage, I think that needs to be tweaked a little bit. Then we move on to something that's a little bit more obvious, and that is the shotguns. I'm sure you guys have come across the shotguns because they're a little bit beasty. Now, the shotguns themselves need to be powerful at close range, and I understand that. They need to have their benefits, otherwise there's no point of having them. At close range, they need to be a one-shot kill, I think, at that sort of range. The problem is with them right now, and this is even without slugs, they do a ton of damage if you're good enough, even at medium to long range. Now, I've had occasions where I've been using the shotgun, and I've fired off a shot at someone who's quite far away, and I've hit him in the head. Because you know that you've hit him in the head in Hardline because the crosshair changes to red, or the hit marker changes to red. It feels like they do a lot of damage. Now, sometimes I've actually been up close and hit somebody square in the chest, and it's done 90 damage. And then sometimes I've shot at somebody who's in another dimension, and it's killed them when it shouldn't have. There needs to be some tweaking going on here with the shotguns, mainly the range. Now, the good thing about this is that they're already aware of it. It was one of the points they brought up even before the beta had come out. They said, we know that the shotguns need a little bit of tweaking at range. So it's something they are aware of, so it's something that will get fixed. So that's very good. Now, one of the things that I liked the sound of when it came to Battlefield Hardline was they said the recoil was going to be a lot more aggressive than it has been in Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3. And I love the idea of that. I want to see guns that are harder to use, just to up the skill ceiling just a little bit, so that you can have guns that are easy to use, but you can have guns that are going to be that little bit better, but they're not as easy to use. I like the idea of that. My problem is right now is that some of the assault rifles are way too easy to use. The M416 and the M16A3 are like some sort of laser beam from another dimension. They say that the recoil is really high. The problem with this is, and it's something that not a lot of people have touched on, the recoil of them might be relatively high, but it's really easy to control because it's only vertical. Now, if you look at the recoil of the M16A3 in Hardline, you'll see that the recoil, if I just don't control it, it only goes up, pretty much. It goes fairly straight up. However, if you look at the recoil in, say, Battlefield 3, it actually moves about quite a bit. There's vertical recoil, but there's a lot of horizontal recoil as well, and you need to be able to control both. The problem with just having vertical is it's super easy to control. And in fact, I don't even need to think about controlling it with the M16A3 because it just does so much damage and fires so fast that it's a non-issue. So there definitely needs to be a spread increase, or I don't know, or maybe recoil a little bit horizontal. Nobody likes horizontal recoil, but they need to make it a little bit less easy to use, I think. Probably a good example of a balanced weapon is the AKM on the criminal side. It does a lot of damage, it's really beasty, but it fires a little bit slower and it's got a lot of recoil. So it's a little bit harder to master. But if you can master it, it's going to do a lot of damage and you're going to be very good with it. And that's a good thing. It's got a fairly steep learning curve, but if you can learn it, then it becomes a good weapon, and that's how it should be. Something else is the Magnum ammo. I'm sure a lot of other people have touched on this. The sniper rifles, the Magnum ammo, just burns through choppers, really, doesn't it? That needs tweaking a little bit, but that's more of a game balance issue rather than a weapon one per se. But yeah, that needs working just a little bit. I would also kind of like to see the M79 or the M320 tweaked a little bit in hotwire mode. I found in hotwire mode, everyone I say everyone, but a lot of people just go as mechanic. They have the M79 as default, and then there's 3 people in the passenger seats of cars all hanging out the window with M79s. And it kind of takes away a little bit from the game mode, but it also kind of makes it exciting at the same time. I'm torn, okay? I'm torn. I don't know whether maybe there should be a limit on how many you can have in a squad or on a team or something like that. Maybe. I don't even know if that would work, but it's something that's come into my head because Hotwire is a ton of fun, don't get me wrong, but it can just be loads of guys running around with M79s blasting people's faces off. So we'll have to look into that. Overall, though, the beta so far has been excellent. I've had loads of fun. I've played the hell out of it, and I'm going to be playing the hell out of it as well. Regular videos are coming up. I've got a lot of ideas in my head and a lot of things planned, but I'm not just going to rush into it this week. We've got a whole month before release where I can work on some of those ideas. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you next time.